The fly slept frozen in the frosted surface on the bark of a tree next to the cemetery of Quarter Hope. The fly dreamed black and white pictures and heard the humming sounds from these images. She dreamed dreams from faraway places, dreams that came to her chambered head from the endless abyss of dead space and had traveled millions of years to reach her. Then the signals ricocheted off her and headed back to return once more to where they had come from. The visions of the fly were clear and pure. But if a man looked at these images, for him everything in them would be formless and incomprehensible. The fly dreamed pictures of immense figures slowly rising on distant horizons amid the surface of unknown worlds built of rock and steel. The figures danced, slowly raising first one hand like a growth, lowering that hand and raising the other hand like a whip. The next moment they raised all their hundreds of cable kite-like arms with vaguely snake-like roots and fingers. And the horizon was darkened by them, because those hands were countless and infinitely long, extending beyond the outline of the surreal painting drawn from the imagination of a mad artist. Figures rose from black, bottomless chasms. Infinitely long tubes emerged from the abysses among the figures, which twisted like the tongue of titanic rubber bands. And boundless tree trunks and rises up towards the sky, frozen in a deathly warm smile from a quivering, frozen star. The shivering moaning of the dying star seeped into every growth of deformed life, causing the life to wither away ensnared in the eternal agonizing suffering of the star killing and life itself. As the light died surrounded by crystallized rock, the rock absorbed the star's life-light, charging its own crystalline lattice. This was the negative diamond crystal weapon of the visitors, which they charged with the solar flame of burning stars, bringing this stone as close as possible to the searing furnaces of the star. And later they used these mid-diamante rocks in the battles against their enemies. These stones are dark before they are charged, but once charged, they become an emanation of the stellar blinding fire of a scorching star itself. Dropped upon the war's suffering world, the visitors end the agony of all who witness the Midiamontani, also known as necromantium blow, which, released close to the Earth's surface, burns its surface, leaving behind black soot and foul. Deadly smoke of volcanic ash from the hellish furnaces themselves. This system, where one of these Midiamanti charging was occurring before the Midiamanti were transported for a devastating battle, was remote, and there were no witnesses to the Midiamanti charging phenomenon. The phenomenon had been going on for millennia undisturbed by any presence. And if by chance an unknown form passed through the space around the star, the form disappeared. Swallowed up by the invisible mouths and drawn into the depths of subspace by the invisible hands laid like traps everywhere in the space around the star. These were the subspace mechanics of the visitors, passing through the throats of interdimensional tunnels. The orbs of the Soarbnoms infect the dimensions themselves, slowly changing the world they have infiltrated. Sometimes these subdimensional tunnels form an entire network of interconnected steel worm-throat mechanical circulation systems, intertwining dozens and hundreds of worlds with other systems, thus facilitating the movement of visitors between the stars. In some cases, a star system may be infected by only one throat, but that throat is there, and by its presence it holds the promise of future expansion. The ancient technological artifact building of Oranimeacams, left as a testimony to the next generations of inhabitants, causing the growth of cosmic matter and thus stimulating the growth of the universe itself. Some of the machines of this mighty power are connected to the great meaning at the center of Entea's existence, a building also known as the Temple of Meaning. The knowledge locked in this temple is perhaps constructed from meaning itself and has the power to change the meaning of anything it comes into contact with. Meaning is conveyed through word, sound. vibration, and sometimes through a certain picture, image, or smell. Everything created by the machine of great meaning, also known as the componentarium, cannot be destroyed by ordinary forces. Because it is connected to the componentarium itself, which is indestructible in its nature. The componentarium is an inexplicable phenomenon contrary to the principles of existence. Some claim that the componentarium is a strange combination of a natural phenomenon mastered in the form of technology, but these are cursory attempts to explain this phenomenon. It was one of many ancient, hidden structures, a hybrid between building, sarcophage and engine. The numerologous number machine symbolizing the universe as numerological symbols and signs, each containing one existence and governing that existence. The Soarbnoms have a replica of this machine in their workshop. The Soarbnoms used their crafted replica component of one of the componentarium's mechanical organs to rebuild, recreate, or outright create certain forms of new existence by embedding those forms into the fabric of what already existed. Thus they change the future and the nature of the world they choose. This change can save this world of altered nature, essence, and time future from the burning flames of the Median stones, for such a world is already conquered and under the care of the visitors. The Soarbnoms, these refugee immigrants and settlers from the perishing systems of Sumaterus, escaped through the wounds of their leaking out, bleeding existence flowing into the hollows formed by the collapse of cosmic currents from their worm universe into the body of the interuniverse and flowing outward into all that exists beyond. At first, the refugees were unassuming. It was enough for them just to survive. But as their parasite ships and flying saucers made numerous interuniverse jumps and their interuniverse colonies became permanently established in a number of existences, allowing this transmigration. The star wanderers girded the loose interuniverse sectors with cybernetics representing interuniverse economic gates. Their metalloid epidermal, also known as a metadermis alloy, and protective exosteel skeletal coating system are filled with primal, black, occult stone. In its current state, this fluid is liquefied to act as blood and all other necessary substances for creatures. The Soarbnoms. These variations of Roswellian Xenoids crashed on the primordial world millions of years ago, remaining in deep anonymity inside their carrion-eater, predator ships. The Impregnated are predatory sages, dedicated ecologists, eco-protectors and bringers of the new meaning. These theologians, lords of poison flies and lobotomized young offspring abducted from millions of worlds of unsuspecting inhabitants, wander among the stars of existence, examining and preaching the doctrine of the great meaning, once escaped from the crumbling fabric of their dying universe and their bubble Khakhakhazmus. These refugees survived the wars back in the dark worm universe and passing through the throats of interdimensional tunnels, now found refuge among the parallel universes and in the universe harboring the Milky Way. The vorbees of the Soarbnoms infect the dimensions themselves, changing the structure of the world they have infiltrated. Their invisible presence often leaves very visible traces unable to be healed by the wounded, bleeding worlds that have suddenly become their patients. Traveling among the internal organs of subspace in inner existence of the universe, impregnants remain unsuspected and innocent of any transgressions committed among the stars. Free from almost any movement restrictions, impregnant Soarbnoms also have preferred methods of movement. One of them is the growling technologies. Among the growling technologies are cursing ships. Growling ships, also known as ships of terror. Ships of terror are equipped with blades to tear apart the vacuum of space, thus moving more easily. These are mostly flying saucers filled up with all sorts of mechanical perversions, cybernetically engineered flies, ferocious mutants. and filth gushing and erupting in fountains of pus and biological waste, dousing everything these ships fly over.